New England is home to 60 truly native species of mammals. One of these species can be found in the young forests, living in the thickets and brushland along the edge of the woods, fighting against food competition, habitat loss, and the threat of endangerment. The New England cottontail, Sylvilagus transitionalis, sometimes called the wood rabbit, is the region's only native species of rabbit, yet it holds a vulnerable status with only an estimated 10,000 remaining in the wild. It is easily mistaken for its main competitor, the eastern cottontail, a species introduced from the Midwest. Often, the New England cottontail will have darker markings than the eastern on its ears and head, but the only way to definitively tell them apart is skeletal or fecal analysis. However, the species is rarely even seen in the wild. Since they are habitat specialists, they can only live in one kind of habitat, the brushland. But this is only temporary. As the young forest trees grow taller, blocking light from above, the lower growing plants die off, and the rabbits have nowhere to hide and nothing to eat. Additionally, the thicket habitat is heavily preferred by the eastern cottontail and the white-tailed deer, two least concerned species that are much more adaptable and prolific. This combination of habitat reduction and competition forced the New England cottontail to be confined to few isolated populations in the region, including parts of New York but excluding the state of Vermont. Efforts to create and preserve brushland have proved beneficial to not only the rabbit but also nearly 70 other species that depend on the young forest for survival. By removing tall trees and planting native brush species, new habitat can be created for these animals. The efforts have been conducted by state government, conservationists, scientists, and private landowners alike, especially in Connecticut where the New England cottontail is very prominent. Rabbits are an important part of the food chain, and New England cottontails are no exception. As prey animals, their main role is food for a variety of predators, such as foxes, coyotes, weasels, fishers, and birds of prey, who do not discriminate on the species of rabbit they're eating. The New England cottontail has smaller eyes than the eastern, which is thought to make it harder to spot predators, and coupled with their habitat loss, they have less places to hide, resulting in increased predation. The species also suffers from a low breeding rate. When rabbits are courting to find mates, they do this behavior called cavorting, where the male charges at the female who jumps in the air. As observed in zoo and university-based breeding programs, the New England cottontail is actually a very solitary and antisocial species. They do not have any physical issues with reproduction, but rather social. They rarely even interacted, and many pairings are unsuccessful. This reserved behavior is likely contributing to their low numbers in the wild. However, these breed and release programs have helped tremendously to increase their numbers in the wild. By mapping their range using radio and GPS collars, as well as DNA analysis of droppings, the species can be monitored, and it has been evident that all of the conservation efforts have led to the population number nearing its current goal. While nowhere near the abundant numbers it reached 50 to 100 years ago, the rabbit is no longer considered endangered. But the work to restore this native species has not stopped yet, and will continue until the New England cottontail is no longer considered vulnerable.